Something happened to me, and to this day I can't explain it. If you found this, please, believe every word. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to get rid of a weight that's destroying my mind. My name, well, that doesn't matter. What matters is that I've always been a skeptic. I work as a photographer in Denver, and I spend most of my nights editing, drinking cold coffee, and trying to get my name out there somewhere on the internet. I'm not the type to see things. I'm not easily impressed. No, era. The truth is, I'd been feeling strange for the past few weeks. A feeling of tiredness that wasn't physical. It was as if something was draining my attention, silencing my thoughts, filling the apartment with a silent presence. I tried to ignore it. I blamed it on sleepless nights, on overdue projects. But there were moments when I froze mid-edit because I felt someone breathing behind me. Not a breeze. Not a street noise. Breathing. Humid, low, almost human heat. And when I turned around, there was nothing there. But that night, the night it all really began, I was so tired I could barely get out of my work clothes. I threw the camera on the table, didn't even turn off the computer, and collapsed onto the bed. The apartment was silent, except for the low hum of the refrigerator and a familiar creaking sound coming from the ceiling when the neighbor walked by. Normal things, things that wouldn't attract anyone's attention. I was almost asleep when I heard it. A dry sound. Small. It's like someone is running their finger across my phone case. I slowly opened my eyes, already annoyed with myself for hearing things. My heart was beating slowly, heavy with sleep. The dim light from the bedside lamp cast crooked shadows on the furniture. Everything seemed normal, until my cell phone vibrated. It was face down, so the vibration made a muffled sound against the sheet. I reached out to grab it, and stopped mid-movement when I saw video call. Unknown number. 2 a.m. My chest tightened. I don't answer video calls even when I know the person. It was too late for that, too awkward, and I already had that feeling of being watched. But the vibration wouldn't stop. The device trembled in my hand as if it were heavier than it should be. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the shivers that ran up my neck, and slid my finger to answer. The screen flipped up, and I almost dropped my phone. It was completely dark. There was no face. There was no movement. Just a black background, as if the camera were covered. And then I heard it. Low. Almost a whisper. But it was so clear that I felt the sound vibrate inside my ear. Don't sleep there. Get out. Now. My blood ran cold. Because of your voice. The voice was identical to mine. Not similar. Not similar. Era my voice. My tone. My breath. My hesitation. I stood there paralyzed, staring at that dark screen, waiting for some movement, for some face to appear. But nothing. Just darkness, and that horrible feeling that I was hearing myself coming from a place where I should never be. My heart was pounding so hard, I could feel my pulse on my lips. An old reflex, the urge to try and find an explanation, surfaced, but died instantly. Because I knew it wasn't someone imitating me. I knew that the voice had come from me, but not from here. And then, before I could hang up, the call dropped on its own. The screen returned to its normal brightness, and the room became absurdly quiet. I should have left at that moment, and perhaps it all ended there. But I didn't move. I couldn't. I was trying to understand how it was possible to have heard my own voice. How could someone have access to it? How? And it was at that moment, while I was still trying to breathe, that my cell phone vibrated again. Another video call. The same number. And I realized I was no longer alone in the room. I remember the exact sensation that overwhelmed my body at that moment. An absurd mixture of shock, dizziness, and an instinctive certainty that if I answered again, something much worse would happen. But the cell phone kept vibrating insistently, as if it were trying to call me by name. The room was so quiet I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. My hand was trembling. My legs felt numb. I don't know why I didn't run away immediately. I just stood there, staring at the screen like an idiot, frozen by my own fear. The vibration stopped for a second, and before I could decide whether to let it play until the end, the device started shaking again. But this time in a different way. He wasn't excited. It was throbbing, as if I were monitoring my own breathing. I couldn't take it anymore. Wait. The screen opened with a snap. This time, it wasn't completely dark. There was light. A faint, yellowish light. Even with the heavy graininess, even with the call distortion, I recognized it immediately. It was the lighting in my room. The same light bulb. The same wall stained by the shadow of the headboard. The same crooked fold of the curtain. I watched it as if I were watching a recorded video, but it wasn't a video. Error live. I scanned the screen, trying to understand the angle. The camera seemed positioned behind me, as if it were somewhere in the room where there was no furniture at all. And then I saw a figure. One way. Something on the side of the image, as if someone my size, were standing there, just watching. The outline was human, but the face wasn't fully visible. The recording was shaky, as if the camera was breathing along with the subject. For a moment I thought my mind was distorting everything, creating shadows where there were none. Until the me in the video took a slight step forward, and she smiled. A small, almost polite smile. But wrong, tense, elongated. It wasn't a smile I would recognize in myself. It was like a broken version of something I would do. A cracked mirror trying to imitate the original. I choked on my own air. And, as if in response to my astonishment, the figure on the call tilted their head, exactly the same way I do when I'm trying to hear something better. The movement was perfect. Too perfect. I warned you, said my voice, the same voice as before. But now, there was a strange curve, as if she were speaking from behind a smile. I turned my neck slowly, without even standing up. Slowly, slowly. I looked at the corner where that thing should be. Nothing. Nothing. But the call showed otherwise. The sound on the call grew heavier, like a damp breath brushing against the microphone. The image trembled slightly, as if the figure had taken another step. And it was at that moment that something froze at the base of my skull. The smile on the screen was wider, more open, but I hadn't seen the moment when he changed. As if the image were waiting that I blinked to adjust. I only managed to end the call because my hands were slippery from sweating so much. The cell phone fell on the bed, and I finally managed to breathe. That short, desperate breath of someone who has just woken up from a nightmare. I jumped up, stumbling over the sheets, the carpet, the air itself. I turned the lights on so hard that the switch made a sharp click. The light flickered. Twice. As if he was taking too long to accept that he needed to light up that room. When it finally became stable, I looked at everything. Every corner, every shadow, every space behind the doors. Nothing, nothing, nothing. But my whole body seemed to scream the opposite. For some reason that I still don't understand to this day, I picked up my cell phone and turned the camera towards myself. I needed to see my face. I needed to be sure that it was still me. The image appeared blurry because of my hands, but it was my face, my eyes, my exhaustion. But there was something behind it. In the reflection of the window, for half a second, I swear I saw another outline, a second body, standing near the door. I blinked, and it disappeared. Perhaps it was a reflex. Perhaps it was my mind. But that night, for the first time, I had a terrible certainty. I wasn't alone in the room, and the thing that was with me, he knew exactly how I was breathing, as I was saying, how I smiled, and he could imitate me perfectly. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the edge of the bed with the lights on, holding my cell phone as if it were a weapon I barely knew how to use. Any shadow on the wall seemed to move. Any sound from the street seemed to come from inside the apartment. At a little after 5 in the morning, when the cold Colorado light began to touch the window, I finally found the courage to get up. My muscles trembled as if I had spent the entire night running. I felt nauseous. I felt a weight on my chest that almost prevented me from breathing. I needed to find an explanation, any explanation, before my mind broke. I went to the table where I keep my equipment. My camera was still there, its lens poorly cleaned, tossed across the keyboard. The computer screen was lit, displaying the last photo I had edited the night before. An empty hallway in an abandoned building that I had photographed for a personal project. And then a strange feeling came over me. I needed to look again. I enlarged the image, later, and more. In the darkest corner of the hallway, where the shadow should have been just an indistinct blotch, there was something. Not a complete picture, not a face, just an outline. As if someone were hiding behind the wall, looking in the direction of the camera. My heart raced. No, I whispered. It had to be pareidolia, a trick of light, some kind of lens malfunction. Anything. But the outline was consistent. And the more I zoomed in, the more I noticed a detail that gave me chills. That silhouette appeared in others' photos of the same place. Always in the background, always still, always watching me. I started going through old folders from weeks before, and that's when my fingers froze on the mouse. There was a photo that I didn't remember taking. A shaky, out-of-focus image, clearly captured unintentionally. It looked like an accidental capture, the kind that happens when you press a button by mistake. But what was in it? What was in the center of the image? Era you, sleeping in my own bed. I felt the air leave my lungs. The photo was clear enough to show the position of my arms, the crease in the pillow, the sheet fallen on the floor. The perspective was strange, as if it had been taken from a high point, above the bed, at an angle that no one could reach without climbing on something. Panic began to spread through my body. My stomach churned. My hands started to tingle, and I had to hold onto the table to avoid falling. I shouldn't have taken that picture. I wouldn't take that off, and I was alone. I was always alone in that apartment. But there was more. Next to the photo thumbnail, an icon glowed discreetly. A notification. A file that had been automatically sent to the folder overnight. I clicked. It was a video. The file started playing with a crackling sound, as if the computer itself hesitated to play it back. The image was dark, but I recognized the scene immediately. My room, the night before. The video showed my bed, and me sleeping, my rhythmic breathing, the shadow of the lamp swaying on the wall, the slight movement of my fingers on the sheet. But there was something else. Something is approaching the bed. Slowly. So slow that the video distortion looked almost like a sob of darkness. It wasn't possible to see the shape clearly. It looked like a blur that became denser as it moved forward. I felt my whole body tremble when the blur stopped beside me, the sleeping version. And then, the camera seemed to adjust its focus for a moment, and I saw it, or so I thought. A piece of a face, a chin, a shadow of a smile. Familiar, identical to mine, but not entirely mine. The video cut off abruptly, as if it had been interrupted mid-motion. I put my hand to my mouth. I started hyperventilating. My eyes were burning. The walls seemed to move closer to me. I turned off the computer using the power button, as if that could erase what I had seen, as if it could undo everything. But it was no use. A sound echoed through the apartment, a dry sound, a single beat, tock, coming from the room. I closed my eyes, trying to convince my brain that it was just the wood creaking, just the wind, just my imagination. But then another notification came on my phone. even though I was in airplane mode, which made me freeze completely. It was a message. No sender, no number, just an audio file. With the name Cord. I accidentally pressed play. My fingers were too shaky to control anything. The sound started out low, breathing, my breathing. I would recognize that rhythm anywhere. But there was another breath along with it. Slower, deeper, as if it were behind me, or within from the room at that same time. And then, at the end of the audio, a voice, my voice, whispered, "You shouldn't have seen that." I dropped my cell phone on the floor. He fell face down, but the audio continued playing for a moment, the double breathing, that awful whisper. I kicked the device away without thinking, as if touching it would allow that one come closer. I was shaking so badly that I had to put my hands on my knees to keep from collapsing. A buzzing sound started at the base of my skull, like a metallic whistle, too loud to be normal. And then, for a second, I had the feeling that the air in the apartment became more dense. It was as if someone were sharing the same breath as me. I went to the door of the room. I locked it. I closed the chain. I pushed a chair forward, and I stepped back. My back pressed against the wall, trying to breathe calmly. But every time I inhaled, I felt another breath of inspiration along with it. A belated echo, as if I weren't alone inside my own ribcage. I needed to get out of there. But I was too terrified to cross the dark rooms. The feeling that something was watching me, always to my left, always slightly out of my field of vision, was so strong that my legs trembled. I turned on all the lights in the apartment, every light bulb, every lampshade, even the one in the bathroom. But even with everything lit up, I could feel shadows moving, small, quick. It was as if something were circling around me, measuring the distance. That's when I noticed something I'd never noticed before. The hallway mirror was a little foggy, as if someone had breathed near him, very close. I approached slowly, driven more by denial than courage. There was a trail, a faint mark on the surface, 2 semicircles, the typical shape left when a mouth comes close to glass. And further down, 3 vertical marks, as if someone had placed their fingertips there. I touched the mirror with the tip of my index finger. It was cold, ice cream, almost wet, and then the entire hallway cracked. The sound reverberated off the walls, dry, concentrated, as if something very heavy had moved, but without producing footsteps. I turned around instantly, my heart racing, my throat tightening. Nothing. No picture. No movement. But the feeling. That feeling of someone's gaze fixed on me. It was so real I almost threw up. I returned to the room like someone returning to a crime scene. I picked up my cell phone from the floor, even against my will. The screen was slightly cracked on the side, but it worked. I unlocked it, and what appeared on the screen almost made my legs give way. Missed call, 0312, U. The word U shouldn't be there. I never saved any number with that name. And the schedule. I didn't receive any calls at 3:12 a.m. The last one had been at a little after 2. But before I could think, another notification came. A short message, no number, no sender, with nothing, just one sentence. I'm still here. I felt my vision blurring. The bedroom light flickered. Once, 2, 3. I backed up until I was against the wall. My breath became short. I was about to collapse. And that's when I heard it, behind me. Low, dragged. Too human to be just imagination. Steps, small, boards, as if someone were barefoot, approaching slowly. My whole body froze. I didn't have the courage to turn around. I didn't have the courage to move. And then, in the brief silence that followed the next step, I heard 2 breaths, mine, quick and desperate, and another one, deep, calm, almost satisfied. I swear, I swear I felt a warm breath touch the back of my neck. As if someone's mouth were a few centimeters from my skin, I could only whisper, without any voice at all, "Please, please, no." But at that moment, the thing behind me did something I'll never forget. She imitated my whisper perfectly, with the same tremor, the same labored breathing. "Please, please, no." But with a smile in her voice, I finally mustered the courage to turn around. Not because I wanted to, but because panic pushed me to. And when I turned around, there was nothing but the breath mark on the mirror. It was fresh again, stronger, deeper, and this time there was a phrase written with the blur itself. "Look carefully." Avery feels the air around her change, colder, denser, heavier, as if someone had opened a door to a place where no human should breathe. The house is too silent, neither the wind outside, nor the usual creaking of the wooden structure. It's as if the world has held its breath to watch what she would do. She stands still in the narrow hallway. The door that appeared shouldn't be there, but it's there. Solid, old, with peeling paint, and a number engraved so deeply it looks like it was done with fingernails. 2. The same number as her bedroom door. The second door, number 2. The second version of the same place. Avery swallows hard and reaches out. His fingers tremble. But it's not just fear. It's the strange feeling that something on the other side wants to touch him back. When the tip of his index finger brushes the cold wood, a shiver runs down his arm. The door pulses, as if it were breathing. The cell phone vibrates. She almost lets out a scream. She looks at the screen. Video call. Avery. Her profile picture flickers, distorted, as if being pulled into the screen. A reflection of Avery's face appears above the icon for a fraction of a second, but it's not a reflection. Her eyes are wider, more glazed, and a smile pulls the corners of her mouth upward in an absurd, painful way, a wish for something that doesn't understand human emotions. Avery takes 2 steps back. The phone stops vibrating. The hallway is filled with silence once more. Then, on the other side of the door with the scratched 2, she hears a knock, light, almost polite. 3 knocks, paused, calculated, tock, tock, tock. "Who's there?" Her voice faltered, coming out thinner than she intended, and then she hears the answer. The voice is identical to hers, but without warmth, without humanity, like a perfect recording captured by a machine that never understood the meaning of words. "You." Avery feels her knees weaken. The skin on her face seems to tighten, as if the air has become drier, as if her own image is being stretched away from her. She looks back at the room, towards the original door, number 2, now closed. She's absolutely certain she left it open. The wood vibrates slightly, as if something were brushing against the other side, marking its existence. Avery looks again at the newly appeared door. A sliver of light emerges from beneath it, faint, like the light from an old TV showing static. The phone vibrates again. This time, it's not a call. It's a message. "Da Avery, of other Avery. Abra." The sound of the word seems to echo within her, even though it is just text. And then another message appears, instantly, as if the sender already knew she would hesitate. "If you don't open it, I will." Avery feels a sudden wave of heat on her face, as if she were being watched very closely. Something passes behind her, quickly, lifting strands of her hair, but there is no wind. There is nothing there, nothing she can see. The original door to her room makes a dry, creaking sound. The latch turns automatically. Avery turns around, her heart pounding so fast she can barely breathe. Door number 2, the real. It opens slowly. From within, in the darkness of the room, a smile emerges. It literally emerges in the dark, before the face, before the contours. Just the smile, floating in the void, exactly like hers. Too similar. The light under the other door, the impossible door, grows brighter, now flickering as if something were approaching from the other side. And Avery understands that it doesn't matter which door she chooses, something got in, and something wants to get out. Avery backs up until her face is against the wall. The smile within the darkness, her own smile, remains still, clear, illuminated by a light that doesn't exist. There are no visible eyes, no chin, no face. Only the perfect curve of her lips mimicking exactly what she knows she would never truly do. The impossible door, the second two, creaks behind it. Now, both are open. One showing a smiling void, the other pulsing a strobe light, as if inside there were a broken device trying to transmit something very old. The phone vibrates again. Avery looks. A new video call, calling Avery. But this time, the video thumbnail already shows something even before she answers. It shows the corridor where you are. It shows the two doors behind her. But the strange thing is that the camera angle is wrong. It's impossible. The cell phone is in her hand, pointed at the ground, but the image on the screen moves, slowly rising as if someone were lifting another cell phone into the same space it occupies. Avery feels the air grow cold around the back of his neck. Her breathing begins to form small, white clouds. "No," she whispers. On the screen, the hallway appears empty. Without her, without a smile, without the strange doors. Only the silence of another version of the house, a version that seems abandoned. Then the image shakes. Something darts across the background of the video, an elongated shadow, too tall to be human, but moving with a naturalness that makes Avery's stomach churn. The shadow stops exactly where she is standing. In the video, the house on the other side, it is mute, lifeless. In the real world, Avery hears something breathing behind her. Low, slow, as if it had lungs, but had forgotten how to use them. The call is answered automatically. The screen goes black for a second. And then Avery from the other side appears, or something that disguises her appearance like a mask. The face has proportions that are too perfect, too symmetrical. The eyes are huge and empty, as if they had been painted on. The smile opens slowly, millimeter by millimeter, stretching the skin until it almost tears. "You shouldn't have stayed here," says the voice. Calm, perfect, without noise. "This space doesn't belong to you." Avery feels an absurd pressure in her chest, as if gravity had doubled over her. A metallic sound echoes inside her head, repetitive, like an alarm trying to wake her from a bad dream. In the video, the other Avery tilts her head to the side with a dry snap. "The real you have already left here. I just need you to decide which door you want to use." The two doors behind her seem to breathe together. The real one, with the smile in the dark, takes a step forward. A face begins to emerge, but not a human face. It's as if someone had sculpted Avery blindly, with trembling hands. And the creature was trying to remember how to use muscles. On the other side, the impossible door increases the frequency of the light. Now, there are sounds behind her. Footsteps, slow, dragging. It's a murmur that repeats something that sounds like a name. Her name. I'm not going to get involved in any," Avery says, pressing her cell phone against her chest. The other Avery laughs. A short, emotionless laugh, like someone testing out a new sound. "Ah, but you've already gone in." The light in the hallway goes out. Everything disappears. The smile, the doors, the house. For a second, Avery believes he fainted, until the power comes back on, not in the house, but in the video. And she sees herself standing in the empty, dark hallway. He sees her body motionless, but she's not inside him. "Go back to where you belong," says the other voice, now sounding exactly like Avery when he's scared, "before someone else takes what is yours." Avery feels invisible hands gripping his shoulders, pushing, guiding. "Thank you," she screams, but no sound comes out, and the video, showing her own empty body, begins to call out to her. I try to breathe, but the air feels trapped somewhere at the back of my throat, as if something had closed my trachea with its fingers. The invisible hands continue to hold me by the shoulders, cold, long, much taller than mine. There is strength in them, but no hurry, as if they knew perfectly well that sooner or later I would have no choice. The light from the cell phone still shines in the dark hallway. My body, still, as if it were just waiting for me to return. No, it's not waiting. It is offer. It was as if someone had removed me from there just to show me that everything I thought was mine, flesh, voice, face, identity, was just an empty space ready to be filled. I feel the first tug. It's as if an electric current is running up my spine, dragging something inside me. My feet scrape the floor, making a soft, dry sound, almost a sigh. I try to grip the walls, but my fingers pierce the surface as if it were made of dust. There's no friction, no resistance. That's when I realize I'm not completely anymore here. The voice, my voice that isn't really mine, whispers close to my ear. "You're making this more painful than it needs to be." The warmth of the breath is gone, but the sound goes straight into my skull, circling my eardrums. It's like hearing someone speak from inside your own head, without being able to turn it off. Another tug, and one more. My vision begins to blur, as if I'm losing depth. The surrounding corridor becomes flattened, out of focus, without perspective. The two doors, the smiling one and the impossible one, reappear, but now as overlapping shadows on the wall, one on top of the other, as if they were the same place in two different versions. I try to scream, I try to run, but the body that would do that isn't with me. On the ground, I see a long, thin blotch, a shadow that doesn't follow my movements. When I turn around, it continues to point towards the motionless body in the video. It's the shadow of whoever is holding me. It's getting closer. It stretches out. It fragments, as if it had many hands, and each one wanted a different piece of me. "Don't fight," says the other Avery. She reappears on the screen, now clearer, more human, more real than I am. "You already know your place." The light behind the strobe door intensifies. Now I see a room. A room that looks like an old chamber, with curved walls and no windows. And in the center, something like a metal armchair, with loose straps swaying as if waiting for arms. At the same time, the darkness of the Smiles door moves. Breathe. It throbs, like a huge animal hidden in the darkness, about to occupy every inch of that opening. The invisible hands pull me tighter. My body, the real, physical one, remains still in the video, with my head slightly tilted, as if I were listening to someone speaking very, very close by. The other Avery tilts her head. Her smile fades. Now, she seems worried. "If you don't come back now..." Her voice falters, something that didn't seem possible before. He's not going to stop. The thing in the dark takes its first step out the door, and I feel, for the first time, his real presence, an ancient, deep, hungry weight, something that was just waiting for an opening, and the loophole is me. "Please." My voice finally comes out, but distorted, as if it were passing through layers of water. "Let me go back." Their hands tightened. The runner disappears. The light goes out. And all that remains is the image of my body in front of me, getting closer and closer, clearer and clearer, as if I were being pushed back into my own skin, or what's left of it. Something is scratching the wall behind me. Long nails, tapes, awaiting the decision. "Times," says the other Avery, "before he chooses for you." And then, Everything collapses in silence. When silence falls, it doesn't feel like the silence of a house. It is the silence of a space without air, without echo, without direction. A silence so profound it feels like my heart has stopped, or that it never existed. I'm floating, or falling, or being stretched in all directions at the same time. I don't know where my body ended and where I began. Darkness pulsates. Not like normal darkness, but as if it had organs. A slow, heavy breath, sinking and rising, trying to synchronize with mine. Like a parasite testing compatibility. Something brushes against my leg. I freeze. The sensation is neither of human touch nor of an animal. It's as if someone pushed a straight line of cold air against my skin. An invisible mark, a warning. Darkness opens up, not like light, but like structure. Walls are formed, outlines are formed, doors are formed, and then I see I'm in the hallway again, but this time, the hallway seems made of memories. The edges are blurred, the objects are in the wrong place, shadows with inverted reflections. It's as if someone tried to reconstruct my house based on distorted photos. In front of me, my body remains still, eyes open, dilated pupils, breathing, non-existent. He is not breathing. My body is standing, but completely still, like an articulated doll someone forgot to put away. The cell phone in his hand still shows the open call, but the other Avery has disappeared. There is no one on the screen. It only says, reintegrate. My fingers, the fingers that aren't fingers, because I don't feel any flesh on them, try to touch the air. The surface vibrates. It's like touching hot water with a sleeping hand. A voice behind me crackles. He doesn't speak. It cracks, like bones being rearranged. I turn slowly, waiting for the smile, waiting for the thing that imitated my face, hoping for any familiar form. But it's not the smile, it's not the face, it is she. Finally, I see part of it, not enough to form a picture, just disconnected fragments, blurs that my mind tries to complete on its own. A member that is too long, an outline that folds in the wrong place, a surface that absorbs light instead of reflecting it, and something that looks like an eye, but it's not an eye, it's just a bright, breathing cavity. He takes a step towards me. The ground makes no sound. Another step, and another. The entire hallway trembles, as if trying to push him away, as if the house didn't want him there. As if even the distorted place couldn't withstand his presence. The other Avery's voice emerges from nowhere. Now download. Weak. As if it were very far away. Come on. Come back. It's your only chance. The creature tilts its head in my direction, and the air behind me closes in, as if I were being pushed back into the physical world. The screen of the cell phone on my body is flashing. The option reintegrate. It begins to disappear, as if he were running out of time. He takes another step, closer. Now I can smell it. The smell of wet soil, and iron, and something warm that shouldn't exist in such a cold place. I try to run, but I don't have legs. I try to scream, but my voice is not here. Then he extends something towards me. It's not a hand. It's not an arm, it's an intention, a curve in space that tries to pull me towards it, as if I were a remnant that fell from myself and it were complaining. The other Avery screams, and it's the first time she's ever screamed. It's not my voice. It's not perfect. She's desperate. Avery, now. I launch myself forward, for the body that should be mine, for the meat that looks like an open door. When I lean against it, it hurts. It hurts like I'm trying on clothes that weren't made for me. It hurts like my bones don't fit together. It hurts as if I were occupying space that had already been partially taken. More I go in. I force it. I tear it up. I'll be back. I open my eyes. I am in my body. I think. The hallway is silent. The original door, only one, is open. The room is dark, and the cell phone falls out of my hand. Breath, once, other. The third one comes out shaky, behind me. Something breathes too, very close, as if it had come along. The first breath is not mine. I know that right away. It's a damp, uneven sound, as if someone's lungs were trying to remember the correct way to expand. There's a hissing sound at the end of each breath, a sound that vibrates inside the wall, inside me, inside the air. I freeze. My eyes were fixed on the open wooden door in the dark rectangle of the room. I don't dare turn my head. Any movement can reveal, can confirm, that I am not alone in my own body. The ground behind me makes a slight cracking sound, weight, step, or presence. I don't know if it's something progressing, or if it is part of me. I feel a shiver run from the base of my spine to the top of my head. My body reacts as if it's rejecting something. How an organism expels poison. The pain comes soon after, a deep, internal pain, as if someone were squeezing me from the inside out. It was as if I were a wall that something else was trying to break through. The cell phone on the floor vibrates. It's not a connection, it's a notification. The screen lights up for a moment, and I see, just for a second, a camera, live, showing the hallway where I am. But the image is crooked, low, as if the camera were on the ground. And in that image, behind me, a shadow is clinging to my body. Not strapped to the back, not touching, sewn, dark lines, like threads, or roots, or fingers that are too long to be fingers. I touch the back of my own neck with a trembling hand. The skin there is too hot, almost feverish, and under my hand, I feel movement. It was as if something was breathing beneath my skin. My stomach is turning. I lean against the wall, trying to keep my balance. "Get out!" My voice falters. I don't know if I'm talking to the hallway or to myself. "Get away from me, please!" The hallway light is flickering. I swallow hard. The light flashes again, this time slower, as if trying to synchronize with other rhythm. The air cools down. The shadow behind me moves. I don't see it. To feel. It slides down my spine as if searching for a place where it fits better. An image overwhelms me. Invisible hands pulling me. The fake smile, a porta pulsando luz. The enormous thing taking silent steps. And the other, Avery's phrase, echoes in my head. Before he chooses for you. Perhaps he made the choice. Maybe this weight on my ribs, this double breathing. It is the choice. I take a step forward. My legs are trembling, but they obey me. The shadow follows me, not as a reflection, but as something moving, inside. The weight changes with my steps. My breath changes with my breath. When I reach the middle of the hallway, she reveals herself. No sound, not with touch, but with intention. A strange urge overwhelms me, the urge to speak, but not my words. My lips begin to part on their own. It doesn't hurt. It just happens. I close them tightly. The breath behind my ear becomes irritated, as if something has been prevented from using the mouth that is now yours. "No," I say firmly, or try to. The sound comes out cracked, as if two voices were trying to escape through the same crack. My mouth is trembling. My teeth are chattering. Not from the cold, but from conflict. And then I hear something that almost knocks me over. A laugh, suave, short, but not in the hallway, in my throat. It's as if someone is laughing inside me, using my trachea as a sounding board. The sound is so wrong that my legs give way for a second. I fall to my knees. The impact resonates. The hallway is shaking, and the laughter grows, no longer short, but longer, distorted, as if the creature were learning to laugh inside my body. I press both hands against my own chest, trying to push it out, as if I could tear the thing that came with me away. Sigh, sigh, sigh. The laughter stops. Silence falls upon me once more. Heavy, oppressive, hot. And then a very low voice speaks inside my left ear, inside the skin. Inside the bone. I'm not coming back. The sentence is spoken in my voice, but not for me. You opened the door for me. I'm trembling. Now you are going to learn how to divide. And I feel an invisible finger touching my sternum from the inside. A touch that shouldn't be possible. A touch that promises the next step. I won't be the one to give it. The pain I feel when that invisible finger presses against my sternum is inhuman. It is neither sharp nor cutting. It's a warm, deep pressure, as if they were marking my skin from the inside, shaping, adjusting, reclaiming space. I curl up on the floor, arms pressed against my chest. But it's no use. The touch moves. It slides behind my ribs. Follow the outline of my heart, which beats too fast, as if trying to escape. That. The voice murmurs within me, using my own breath as a vehicle. It's just adaptation. My eyes are burning. The vision doubles. The walls seem to breathe along with me. The house is no longer my home. It's an unstable reflection of the real place, as if I had left reality for a second, long enough to allow something else to enter mine. Enough time for everything to fall out of alignment. And I realized something I hadn't noticed until now. The hallway light, which used to flicker in strange rhythms. Now follow my heart. Not his natural rhythm, but the accelerated and irregular rhythm that the thing inside me is creating. Every wrong beat, every vibration, every tremor. The light responds. I stand up slowly, using the wall for support. My legs look like mine, and they don't. Some joints move as they used to. There are others that I don't fully obey, but I can stand up. It's Saw, the voice whispers. We are already making progress. My stomach churns, and the taste of metal rises in my throat. I feel nauseous, but I can't vomit. It's as if this body, my body, were reprogramming reflexes. My phone vibrates on the floor. I look at him without bending down. A new notification appears. New recording saved. 02:17 a.m. Unauthorized entry detected. My fingers are trembling. I don't remember setting up any monitoring, not even surveillance. Nothing that even resembles that. The voice inside me chuckled softly. It wasn't me. A pause. It was us. A chill runs through my body. Slow, painful, like burning ice. The house is different now, and the world too. I reach for my phone, but as I bend down to pick it up, my reflection in the lit-up screen. He doesn't come with me. My body moves, not my reflection. The reflection is still, looking directly at me. Eyes wide open, very deep, very aware. And then he whispers, without moving his lips, I came back earlier. I drop my cell phone. The impact causes the screen to go black. Behind me, in the hallway, I hear footsteps. Steps that are not mine. Steps that show no respect for the ground, nor for weight, nor for space. Steps that seem to glide across the wood, as if someone were repeating the movement of walking without knowing how to walk. The air gets so cold that my teeth chatter on their own. The ceiling light is flickering. It failed again, and then it remains continuous, fixed, illuminating the still silhouette at the end of the corridor. A tall silhouette, very high, with an outline that breaks the symmetry of the wall. The shadow moves, slow, dragged, targeted, and when she leans in, I can see, even without clearly defined eyes, that she's looking directly at me. The voice inside me sighs, satisfied. He didn't come after me. A short break. He came looking for you. My legs lock up. My breath is scratching my lungs. I feel the same tug I felt in that impossible hallway. The same force that tried to tear me from my skin. But now, it's not time to take me away. It's to open me up. Avery? The inner voice says, now using exactly my tone, my fear, my fragility. Let me help. I close my eyes tightly. The ground is shaking. The wood cracks. The shadow moves forward one more step. And then, one last sentence whispers in my head, as delicate as a confession. If that made you uncomfortable, imagine what comes next. The light goes out. The breath behind my neck draws closer. And the story ends like this. With me understanding, too late, that I returned to my body. But I didn't come back alone.